This is faux News with me, your host, William Copeland. And tonight we'll be talking about the problematic issue of fake news. Fake news, as you may know, tries to mislead us, the public, by giving us false information or real information in false context to try to get us, the reader, to side with them or against something else. Now, as you may know, you can trust us at faux News to give you reliable information. But what about other news sources? With how technology has progressed, it has made news so accessible and so quick to the public that it has become an issue of reliability and quality. Now we at faux News sent out one of our own field journalists to the public to interview them on how they identify and avoid fake news. Go ahead, William. William, I'm out here at the local Starbucks with field person Micah Bramall. Tell me, so, do you think fake news is a problem?
I feel like it's a problem, but it's not as much of a problem as a lot of people make it out to be.
So, with how technology has progressed, do you think fake news has become more of a problem?
It's definitely become more of a problem.
What steps do you take to avoid fake news?
I mainly just look at the headliner, and we'll look it up and see if there's other people that have written about this topic and see what they said about it.
What other steps do you think people can take to avoid fake news?
You could probably look up the author and see if they're credible. The source originally that it came from, see if it's credible or anything, and any other sources that it used.
Alright, well there you have it, folks. Micah Bramall. Back to you, William. Thanks, William. I'm here with fake news expert William Carpenter, PhD in fake newsology. Tell me, Dr. Carpenter, what do you think the biggest issue with people falling for fake news? Well, thanks for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan. The pleasure's all mine. Well, most people would assume that bias is the biggest issue. But I would say that the biggest issue is people's own laziness. What about biases? Doesn't that still play a role? Yes, it does. But most people are aware of their own biases, like their own political leaning, how they feel about current events, and issues they find important. Most people are aware of this because it's a part of who they are. Now, bias is still an issue, but it's not the biggest issue. So laziness is the issue? How does laziness cause a problem? Well, back in 2016, a study conducted by two psychology professors named Lazy Not Bias was conducted measuring a person's political leaning as well as their ability to recognize fake news. In this study of about 800 people, they had them take a test identifying whether or not an article was fake, as well as measuring their political leaning. They took the information from these two tests and found that, quote, evidence indicated that people fall for fake news because they fail to think, not because they think motivated or identity protective way. What do they mean when they say people don't fall for fake news because of their identity protective ways? Well, they are referring to identity protective cognition, which basically means people fall for fake news if it agrees with their ideas or disagrees with the opposing group's ideas. So basically, the study took what they found to be their biases and compared it with their answers for the fake news test to see whether or not their biases affected their ability to identify fake news. Yes, that's what the study did. And they find that your biases do not impede on your ability to identify fake news. So what steps do you think people should take if they're unsure if news is fake? Well, fourthly, read the article, not just the title. You may find some absurd claims or even fallacies in it. Fallacies? What are fallacies? I'm glad you asked. A fallacy is basically a fault in logic, especially one based on an unsound argument. An example of this would be, you're not Scottish unless you play bagpipes. Okay. What else should we do to avoid fake news? Well, another thing you could do is you could check the sources as well as look at the background of the author. See if the author has any biases themselves, as well as checking to see if the sources are credible. Well, there you have it, folks. Fake news expert Dr. William Carpenter. Stay tuned for next episode of Faux Action News.